So I checked real quick, and it looks like you want to talk about the illicit market. Is that accurate, or is there
Um,
something else that we're talking about?
yes, well, Paul referenced me referring to the black market in the conversation we were having at the previous meeting. And I didn't, I think his reference was appropriate because then he went into, they'll go back to the black market now, which wasn't what I was talking about. I was referring to the fact that there was an unregulated market that existed prior to 1999, and that was a completely different market than we have today. And
Right.
it's morphed over the years to a different thing. And besides being a completely different market with a different supply chain and a different kind of product, at this point, and I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to go out on a limb because, hey, this has been a long haul.
Sure.
I kind of see the whole black market thing as an emptier threat than it was a few years ago, because frankly, I mean, I haven't been on it since like 2013 would be the last time I had any knowledge of it. And it's funny because that access was like original access, different than the access now. But I talk to people, and everybody who knows me knows I'm a marijuana person. So lots of people talk to me about their experiences. And frankly, the only people talking to me about using the black market are minors, who can't use the legal market and whose parents aren't supportive of a medical marijuana card. So since you opened the adult use market, lots of people have bit the bullet to go to the adult use market and get the product through there, and are doing that now. And then last I knew, like, a year or two ago, there was like 100,000 patients in Maine, and we're a state of like 1 million people. So that's like 1/10 of the population is already patient. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
I
and
certainly
then
do.
so then you have another bulk of people, obviously, on a thriving adult use market with sales going up all the time. So obviously there are lots of people turning to that. So, even separate from my comment about, I was referring to a different illicit market, I can't imagine that as far as in state, 1.3 million people, I can't imagine that there's going to actually be that big an illicit market, and what exists would probably be servicing mostly minors or folks under 21, from what I can pick up from my conversations with people. I mean,
Sure.
lots of people have made the choice to consciously get the card, or are biting the bullet on the adult market, or lots of folks are doing a little bit of growing and purchasing legally, mixing and supplementing both. So
Yeah,
the market I grew up with is completely different than the market now, as far as when I was doing black market product. It's the bottom line. And the second message is, in Maine, there's a limited black market. It's finite, and it's getting smaller the more people use legal means.
yeah. I mean, there's certainly still an in-state illicit market, but I think your point is right as far as the medical program, how robust it is, and with the new adult use market, and each week passes, access increases there. I think we're certainly doing a good job of keeping cannabis sales in one of the two legal programs. There's still a lot of work that we can do on that front, but that's helpful to hear you say that. Obviously, you have those conversations with individuals that experience it daily. That's a huge value to us. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not denying that there is one. Oh, there
yeah,
is
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And lots of teens are using it that I know of. So that would be a concern when you're looking at, further, dealing with it. But
for
the
sure.
idea of an illicit black market targeting only Maine people being like a full-time job that you could like earn a living on, like I said, that's harder and harder to imagine that happening. Even back in the day, I'll be honest with you, no one did it as a full-time job back in the day. Everybody had a full-time job, and their weed thing was their part-time thing. It was
Right.
a supplemental income. It was a covering their own heads thing. It wasn't no one anticipated, or I mean, there were people who did it on a bigger scale, but I'm sure those are the guys who got busted. But, as far as people who did it regularly, it was a side thing, which is another thing that's changed.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's the expectation that this is going to be highly lucrative wasn't there in the previous black market.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say was I
Yeah.
wasn't referring to today's. I was referring to the one I grew up with. you
Yeah,
know.
very good. I'm glad that you got that clarity, and it's all interesting information for us to take in. So I do appreciate it. I really do. You know that.
All right. Okay, thank you. You guys have a great weekend, and I appreciate your time. This is an incredible process you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care.